Hi, I am Rayna Dark with Into the Shadow. I wanted to come on here and explain who I am and what I do. So Rayna Dark was the name that I chose. My given name is Caitlin, Kaitlan, but I usually just go by Kate. But for, spiritual purposes and for my music, I prefer Rayna Dark. So I've recently, well, within the past few years anyway, gotten really into shadow work. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the story behind it. When I was 11 years old, I was diagnosed with thyroid disease. It's the specific kind of thyroid disease called Graves' disease, so it kind of always stays with you. Sorry, that's my insulin pump beeping because I'm also a type 1 diabetic. I'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, I was diagnosed with thyroid disease. It almost killed me. My thyroid was so overactive that I lost 50 pounds in like a month. I was hospitalized. It was not fun, and I wasn't even aware at the time that I was so sick. Like, I had no idea what was going on, basically. I was 11 years old, So yeah, and then we get to 16 years old, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Yay. Not really, but those were really the big struggles that started with me, and at such a young age, it's really difficult. So when I turned 16, shortly after being diagnosed with the type 1 diabetes, I started researching the effects on a young mind who had gone through the severity of thyroid disease that I did. Like, I literally started researching specific effects on the brain. I looked at case studies. Unfortunately, the only ones that I could find at the time were about like older people who ended up with like dementia, schizophrenia, dementia, crazy stuff like that. But that's essentially where my shadow work journey started, and I didn't even realize what I was doing. I didn't know what shadow work meant. But I was looking for reasons behind the behaviors that I had, because I was very depressed and anxious and angry, and I didn't understand where it was coming from. It took me really a long time to figure that out. And also with thyroid diseases, there's always something in your environment that triggers it. And I'm still unsure what that event was, to be honest with you. I cannot remember it. Please don't knock down my stand, kitty cat. Please, thank you. Sorry, my cat. There she goes. Yes, I know. She wants to play. But anyway, back to the story. So yeah, that was where it all started. I was trying to figure out why all these things were happening, and I didn't get that far because I think I was so focused on just the diseases itself. I hadn't even started to look into like the family patterns that were playing out because of how I grew up and the environment that I was in. I didn't even think about anything like that, or like generational trauma, nothing like that. And so for years and years and years, I just kept recycling these toxic relationships and being unhappy and just wanting love but not being able to get it for some reason and not understanding why. And just ended up in some of these really, really terrible relationships, physically and sexually abusive. It was not a good time. And finally, a few years ago, I started dating someone who is actually very knowledgeable on spiritual topics. He started pointing out to me some of my patterns that I was not even aware of that I was doing. Actually, it took me a long time to come to terms with the patterns that I did have. And not only that, some of them were projections, so they weren't even like my stuff. So it took me a while to sort through all of that. But it was actually after that relationship ended that, you know, I was forced to just be by myself for a while. And I needed that. I really needed that, because I was able to sort through what issues were mine. And here was the game changer for me, okay? This was the game changer. And I mean, as soon as I realized it, it was like, I realized all of my suffering was of my own choice. I was in charge of every single moment of suffering since I had become an adult. I chose it. I chose it. Why did I choose it? Because I believed that that was what I deserved. That was how I felt about myself. And so that manifested into my physical reality. And since then, my entire perspective on everything has changed. I'm not nearly as depressed. I don't seek external validation to feel good about myself. I find it from within. I've focused on self-care routines, actually taking care of myself, and just being aware of when there is something in environment that is triggering me, recognizing that it is, you know, I'm not a victim. I am just reacting to something that is a trigger because of something that somebody else did in the past. There is my cat, by the way. Say hello, Siren. What are you doing? Did you not? Come here. I know. My cat helps a lot too. I call her my anxiety medication. She's being crazy right now. But so yeah, that's basically my story. You know, everything started changing for me once I started just gaining that awareness of my own patterns, my own behaviors. You know, the whole seeking external validation thing. Started spending a lot of time by myself, and you know, slowly started getting rid of all the toxic things out of my life, and that includes people, physical possessions, patterns of behavior that just weren't serving me. It's still a journey. You know, I'm not healed. I'm not fixed. You know, it's a constant journey. It's a constant battle, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it, because the quality of life is just so much better. It really, really is. Yeah, I'm still struggling with, you know, some mental health, well, not mental health, but health conditions, you know, the diabetes and stuff, but I'm getting control of that a lot better. I'm taking a lot better care of myself. And the reason I started to get into this business is because I just witnessed so many people going through the same things over and over and over, and not understanding why nothing is changing. You know, everyone talks about the law of attraction and manifestation, and like, what am I doing wrong? Well, there's probably quite a few things. You know, you manifest your internal reality, and so like me, if you feel like you are a piece of shit, then you're gonna seek out situations and people that make you feel like a piece of shit. And you know, manifestation, like, if you keep on focusing on all of the negative things and how everything is so bad and everything sucks and I hate my life, it's just gonna stay that way. You know, you have to take responsibility for your own life. You always have a choice. It just, you know, at the time, it just seems like there are no viable options, but there's always a choice. And, you know, you can either choose to keep living the way you've been living, keep doing the same things that you've been doing and expecting a different result, which is the literal definition of insanity. Or you can actually try to change things once you're actually able to acknowledge the shame and the guilt and just the heartbreak, and that you chose all of that. And I'm not saying that you can like control other people or, you know, accidents or anything like that, but you do choose to feel the way that you feel. And even if it is a negative emotion, like it's not a bad thing. Negative emotions are not bad. What's bad is repressing them. That's bad, is when you don't acknowledge them or let them out. And my problem actually was not letting them go. I would just stay in that bleh, and you know, I couldn't find a way out until I finally realized it was a choice. Like, okay, I could choose to go that way the whole time. So anyway, that is a bit about me and my story. I think I'm gonna have to get off here and play with my cat before she destroys something. But yeah, I hope some of you resonated with that. And you know, if you want to reach out to me about anything, questions, whatever, feel free to message me into the shadow113@outlook.com. And it's nice to meet everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day.